Pac had got whiff that Jay-Z was in town. Well, you know he gonna do a show because Jay-Z, he doing a show. But you gotta realize Jay-Z had became an enemy of Pac because I think he had said some shit or was gonna do a song with Big or whatever like that, the whole 9 yards. So Jay is now Pac's enemy. So he gets a phone call saying that Jay is not gonna come out the room because Tupac threatened him. So he's not gonna do his show. Can he make some phone calls, you understand, to get Pac off the booth?
What if the biggest moment of Tupac's final night didn't happen outside at all? What if the real turning point happened earlier, behind a closed door, in a private room where tension was already peaking? That idea changes how the whole night feels. Gene Deal has been pushing a version of that Vegas night that doesn't just add details, it shifts the timeline. In his telling, the pressure started inside the building long before anything turned public. It wasn't random chaos, it was a situation heating up quietly. Now let's be clear, this is not confirmed evidence and not courtroom proof. This is Deal's account of what he claims he saw, heard, and felt that night. But what makes people listen is how specific the story is. Deal describes a private room, a hidden presence, and a confrontation that almost happened. One decision stopped it, and then the night still ended in history the way everyone remembers it. According to Deal, Tupac felt people were moving funny around him. He believed certain conversations were happening behind his back, and he wanted answers immediately. Not tomorrow, not later, but right then, face to face. Deal paints the atmosphere like this. Vegas was boiling with East Coast and West Coast tension. The industry wasn't just split by music, it was split by power, loyalty, and money. Everyone was choosing sides whether they admitted it or not. Tupac was in the middle of that pressure. Loud, fearless, and convinced people were playing games around him. He didn't trust the politics, and he didn't like feeling kept out of the loop. Then comes the detail that makes people pause. Deal claims Jay-Z was in the same building that night. Not visible, not out front, not on stage. According to the story, Jay-Z was there in a private room, quiet, staying out of sight. And in Deal's version, that became a problem. Tupac wasn't in the mood for smooth talk that night. He wasn't waiting for the right time to have a conversation. He wanted answers right away about respect, loyalty, and what he believed was happening behind the scenes. Deal says Pac heard Jay-Z was in town for a show, and in his mind, Jay had become an enemy because of industry moves and connections. Deal puts it plainly, Jay is now Pac enemy. According to the story, Jay-Z gets word Tupac is heated and decides not to come out. Deal says phone calls start flying, trying to calm things down, trying to keep Tupac away from that room. In his telling, Jay-Z doesn't come out. Deal describes the tension like you could feel it in your body, the kind of silence where everyone is waiting for one word that sets the whole place off. One wrong step and the whole room could explode. That's when Suge Knight steps in. Deal recalls Suge shutting it down with a simple line, "Give him a pass." Just like that, the confrontation that could have changed everything never happens. And that's the moment people replay. Because Suge wasn't known for calming situations down. His reputation was the opposite. So why did he suddenly choose restraint? Deal's implication is that Suge understood the stakes. Not a small argument, not a quick scene, but a collision that could expose names, alliances, and private relationships nobody wanted dragged into daylight. Deal even adds a sharp line about fear, saying, "Had no scared." Probably still is scared. That one decision didn't just protect people in the room, it protected what could have been said and overheard. Because once certain words leave a room, they don't come back. Deal suggests if Tupac walked in there talking the way he talked, nobody would control what came out.
And beef started between Death Row and Bad Boy.
All attention started between Puff and Suge Knight. You understand? All attention came from Puff and Suge Knight. Suge wanted Puff to have Big them do a show. Puff wanted to get paid for Big doing the show. But Suge did a whole lot of free for Puff at one time. Because when Puff used to come out to California, before he could afford security, before he could afford that, Suge used to look out for the cat. Tupac fuck with East Coast and West Coast niggas. How you gonna have nice and smooth out there with him and they from the East Coast? You understand what I'm saying? He with niggas from the East Coast, West Coast, down south, the whole 9 yards. Pac had some shit with him, yeah. But all them niggas had shit with them. All them niggas.
And when people feel cornered, the truth gets loud fast. That's why this story doesn't feel like simple gossip to some listeners. It sounds like a near miss, a moment that almost happened and would have changed the timeline before the night turned tragic. Deal also confirms he was there. When asked directly, he says, "I was there." Then he pulls other major industry names into the orbit too, including Diddy. Not as proof of anything, but as someone Deal suggests had more awareness of how tension and narratives were handled back then. So Deal isn't just telling a who was where story, he's telling a how stories get shaped story, how pressure gets redirected, how scenes get avoided, how certain names stay out of the wrong moment. And that leads to the question Deal's version keeps pointing at. If Jay-Z stayed hidden that night, what was he trying to avoid? In Deal's framing, it wasn't random fear. It was fear of the wrong conversation happening in front of the wrong people, in a room where words could turn into headlines. And that's why this version won't die, because it suggests the loudest moment distracted everyone from the quiet part that might explain the rest. Gene Deal doesn't stop the story in Vegas, and that's where things get heavier fast. According to him, what happened that night
We're in Atlanta that something was bought and he thought I was gonna lie about it because Puff was trying to say it was his and it wasn't his, it was Big's. And you understand? And when he said, and they had made a bet that I was gonna go on Puff's side. So when I got to the studio, I said, nah, Puff, you had that one and Big had that one. And that's what it was.
it wasn't just about who was in which room. It was about how narratives were handled afterward and who knew how to move quietly when pressure was high. Deal shifts the focus from the near confrontation to what came next behind the scenes. He suggests that certain industry figures had a deeper understanding of the tension in that era than the public ever realized, and that awareness shaped how events were later framed. This isn't presented as proof or final truth. It's Deal's perspective based on proximity and memory, and that distinction matters. Still, what keeps people listening is how the story connects dots instead of throwing random theories around. According to Deal, the tension between camps didn't come out of nowhere. It had been building for a long time, fueled by power moves, business disagreements, and unspoken competition. Music was only the surface layer. Deal points directly to the ongoing friction between major camps, saying the energy wasn't personal beef as much as it was about influence and control. Who could move where, who could speak freely, and who had to watch their steps. He explains that when pressure like that builds, people don't always confront it head-on. They manage it quietly. Scenes get avoided, conversations get delayed, and certain moments are intentionally never allowed to happen. That's why, in Deal's telling, Suge stepping in wasn't just about calming Tupac down. It was about preventing a chain reaction that could pull too many names into the spotlight at once. Deal frames it as protection of the room itself. Protection of what could be overheard, repeated, or turned into leverage later. Because once certain words escape a private space, they take on a life of their own. Then Deal brings up a detail that sends people straight to comment sections every time it's mentioned. Cuba. He's careful with how he says it, but he still says it clearly. Not somewhere overseas, not a random location, but Cuba. And that specificity is exactly why people can't ignore it. Important clarification here. This is not verified information. This is Deal's claim and suggestion, not confirmed fact. But naming a specific place invites questions instead of shutting them down. As soon as a location is named, people ask why. If you're making something up, it can be challenged. If you keep repeating it anyway, it suggests you believe there's something behind it. Deal frames the Cuba angle as strategy, not fantasy. He suggests that certain decisions were made with long-term consequences in mind. That information was treated carefully, stored quietly, and kept away from public noise. He also brings up physical realities to ground the discussion, referencing serious injuries and recovery challenges as part of the broader conversation. These details aren't used for shock, but to explain why difficult decisions may have been made. Deal recalls a moment where a mother's strength and dignity shaped how events were handled, saying people respected her choices and didn't challenge them. That part of the story adds emotional weight without pointing fingers. And if someone accepts that possibility, even for a moment, Deal says the next question becomes unavoidable. Who had the access to manage information like that? Who had the resources to move quietly? Who understood the value of keeping certain details controlled? Deal argues that random fans don't handle paperwork, logistics, or long timelines. Those things require reach, relationships, and trust built over years. That's why this part of the story sticks with people, not because it proves anything, but because it follows a recognizable pattern. A private moment nearly happens. A powerful figure prevents it. The public never hears the full details. History moves forward with a simplified version. And years later, someone close to the situation says, "You missed the part that mattered." According to Deal, the part that mattered wasn't just what happened outside. It was the silence inside, the rooms people didn't see, the decisions people didn't hear. And that's what turns this from a rumor into a lingering question that refuses to fade. Here's where Gene Deal's story tightens and refuses to let go. He isn't just talking about one night, one room, or one decision. He's pointing at how narratives get locked in after the fact, and who has the influence to make sure certain details never move forward. Deal suggests the public didn't see the full picture because the loudest moments swallowed the quiet ones. Once the chaos hit the streets, everything before it faded into the background. The story got simplified, repeated, and eventually accepted as complete. But Deal challenges that idea hard. He keeps circling back to private rooms, paused conversations, and moments that were deliberately shut down. In his framing, silence wasn't accidental, it was controlled. He explains that when powerful people understand what a single conversation could trigger, they step in early, not to rewrite history, but to stop it from branching into something unpredictable. And once that decision is made, the aftermath almost manages itself. Deal keeps stressing that this isn't about proving one version right or wrong. It's about recognizing patterns people have seen before. Pressure builds quietly. A moment nearly happens. Someone with influence shuts it down. And the public only sees the explosion that follows. That's why this story keeps
Like Pac having one lung, for example, you know what I mean? Never have his voice again. You know, Pac loved music. I think they had to remove a finger or something. She like, I know my son. His pride, he probably wouldn't be able to live like that. You know, she just felt like he fought enough, and she decided to, let him go. No one questioned her and said, why did you do it and stuff like that. You know, people just supported her decision.
Surfacing. Not because everyone believes it, but because it introduces a missing layer. A layer where choices were made before anyone outside knew there was a choice at all. Deal's version forces one uncomfortable question to stay on the table. Who benefited from keeping the story simple? Who stayed invisible? Who avoided the room? Who walked away with the narrative already shaped? According to Deal, the truth people argue over isn't only about the final moment. It's about the pressure that night created and the decisions made in rooms nobody ever saw. And that's the real tension he leaves hanging. Not answers, not proof, but the reminder that history is often shaped before the public ever hears the noise. And if stories like this make you question what really happened behind closed doors, make sure you like the video, share it, and subscribe to the I Love Gossip channel right now so you don't miss what's coming next. More deep dives, more untold angles, and more stories they don't break down like this anywhere else.